Hi students. So today I thought that it would be nice to make some art outside. One thing, if you have a space to work on outside, it's really important to remember to bring a rock or something a little bit heavy to put on top of your paper. Because if the wind is blowing, you don't want your paper to blow away, and sometimes the wind just comes out of nowhere. All right, so today's artist, her name is Pop Chile, and she's an artist from New Mexico, where I used to live. Pop Chile is a Native American artist, and what she does is she likes to draw animals. This was a while ago when she was making her art, and the kind of art that she makes is what we call stylized. So we've talked about that last week with the Mexican bark paintings. When you make an animal or person, house, or tree that is stylized, that means it's a basic shape and it doesn't look realistic. So here's an example of one of her pieces called Forest Scene. What can we notice here? Well, she has repeated her objects, which are these stylized blue deer. She also has these kind of teddy bear looking bears that are facing away from us, and some very interesting, fantastical trees with beautiful colors. So these trees are not going to be trees that look like realistic trees that we would see in real life. They are very imaginative, and a lot of her forest kind of looks like a magical forest. Here's another one of her pictures, and this one has 3 different deer. It has a skunk, a squirrel, and some little flowers. Here's a picture of Pop Chile. Pop Chile means blue flower. And this is her native language, in the Tiwa language. So you can see this picture was a long time ago. It was in black and white, and she has beautiful braids in her hair. It's very common for people in Native American Indian tribes to name their children after flowers or plants or animals or elements such as wind or rain. This is very normal. There she is again, and you can see that she's wearing kind of a more traditional dress. So she has a lot of big, beautiful turquoise jewelry, stones and silver. Looks like she has some moccasins on her feet. Here's another one of her paintings. So this one is about animals, just the blue deer with some plants in the background. Maybe that's what you're going to choose for your picture today. Of course, it's going to be up to you what you want to do. Beautiful horses. I love the way that she made the hair on the horses. Look at the very thin legs. This is not a realistic looking horse. It almost looks like a piece of coral, the hair. There's another one, turquoise and green. Great colors she used for her animals. This one has a blue background. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with my background. I'm going to do a little painting with it. Oh, here's one more. So some people think that Walt Disney movies were inspired by some of her art. And if you see some of the really old Walt Disney movies, like Bambi, you can kind of see some resemblance to her characters, the whole idea of a magical forest. And this is, it hangs in the airport in New Mexico where I used to live. The first thing I did was take some water paints and I painted a background. So this step is optional. You could do that if you want. If you have some paints, you could use those, but if you don't, that's not a problem at all. The next thing you need to do if you do paint your paper is it has to be very dry. So you want to let it dry for about an hour before you start to work on it. Then I decided to use some of these trees. I found these on the internet, and they really reminded me of Pop Chili's trees. They are stylized, very simple. So I'm going to choose a couple of these trees and use them in my work. I think I'm going to make about 4 trees, and I'm going to put them towards the back of the paper. I'm going to put them in the background like she did with her work. Here's a really good example right here where you can see the 4 trees in the background. I'm going to use a pencil to sketch my trees. I sketched the trees lightly. Remember, if you're making a tree with branches, just keep making the letter Y. There's a Y. Here's another letter Y. Here's another letter Y. And pretty soon you have a tree with a lot of branches. So I just made 4 in my picture. And now I'm going to trace them with some kind of a marker. I'm going to see what I have. Whoop, there goes the wind. I drew my trees and then I just traced them with whatever markers I had around. So remember, this is kind of a magical forest, so you can make your trees a little bit crazy. I wanted to add some bright pink on mine. Now it's time to do one of the animals. So I put some of these animal shapes up here. If you have a white paper, if you don't paint your paper, you could actually put it right on top of the computer and trace the shape very gently if you'd like to do that. I'm going to draw it since I painted my paper, and maybe I'm going to do mine my own way. So I made my puerco espina, and can you see right here where this guy has a little mohawk? That's because I messed up. So don't be afraid if you mess up. It doesn't matter, because you're the only one that ever has to like your picture. Just remember that. All right, this is a great time for those of you who love lots of details. So something you can do is double outline. You can put all sorts of colors in there. Really great time for the details. I hope you enjoy this Pop Chili project, and I will see you very soon next week. Hasta luego!